Morning, Steve.
Morning, Simon. Thank you for this podcast today. We're going to be talking about the new upcoming course of Kingmakers.
Yeah, which as another head coach, you're going to be there as well and part of.
So looking forward to that. We have some questions that have come in, which we want to ask this morning. So I want to start with the first one, which is, how do you think that the course will affect the current industry of coaching men?
Hugely, I think. We could probably spend a whole podcast on this. I think the problem with modern coaching is that it's only got one direction. For instance, business coaching is about improving your business. There's nothing wrong with these. And you've got life coaching, maybe a specific part of your life. But actually, what the Kingmakers is going to do is encourage men to look at the entire spectrum of their life, to look at everything and improve everything. Because I think if we're going to have a course on courage, it's got to have a line running through your whole life. Sure. It'd be very convenient to just work on one thing and leave everything the same. Yeah. And actually, that can't even happen. So it's a bit of a myth. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with these courses, but you've got to get your mindset right first before you excel in everything. And I've coached so many successful, wealthy men that despite the money, they've still got those traits about themselves that they're unhappy with. They're still very unhappy internally with the man they are. So I think it's important to know that money solves money problems, but it doesn't solve the problem with the man. Okay. I think it's really important. And also, if we look at life coaching, most life coaching courses, from what I can see, have an audience of mixed sex, men and women. Well, I can't see how that can go deep enough then, because men and women, I have to say it these days, are fundamentally different. So a course really, if it's going to go into in depth, it's got to be about men. It's got to be coached by men, for men, to be men.
Absolutely.
And only men can do that, as only men can turn a boy into a man. Absolutely. So if you're sitting in a life coach class with mixed sex, I would say the material is not deep enough for you as a man. Sure. And I think that we are one of the first to come out and say our coaching is just for men. They have much more protective qualities. They have much more risk-taking qualities about them. It's just different. You only got to look at how a father raises his children in comparison to the mum to know that there's profound differences between what the children pick up and the parts of themselves that are cultivated just by having a father around. So for men, you need to go to a course for men if you want to be a better man. It seems crazy to have to point that out, but clearly I do. So that's where I think that we will make a big change. I also think the change will be in the fact that we're saying we're not looking at a particular outcome, maybe in someone's business, but we're saying make courage the primary aim of life. And the flip side to that is, if you're living a courageous life, being the best man you can be, who's going to build the better business? The guy that's just focusing on one area of his life and keeping the rest the same, or the guy that's really living his whole life from courage? I think the answer's clear. It's the guy that's decided to use courage as the primary aim. And I think that's powerful. I think that's going to be the main differences.
Because we know we have innate roles within the family. The woman, the mother has her role, and the father, the man has his role. And identifying those unique roles, which are as important as each other, is identifying that role in the man so he can be aware of what he needs to do, not just as a father, but as a man in society, and developing his character first and foremost above anything else will enable him to move forward in all aspects of life.
Absolutely. If he's developed a character, and there's the old Eastern saying, isn't there? Character must be like between the hammer and the anvil. It should be forged in the test of fire.
Absolutely.
I love that. So that the guy is a formidable force, because we're now being taught that harmlessness and fragility is a virtue, and it's not. It's paralyzing. It's incapacitating for what you can do. So, and a man with a character like that, he's going to go out there and he's going to have the best relationships. He's going to be the best father. He's going to have the best business, because he's not being one mask here, one mask there. His life's congruent, and that's what we're looking for, congruency.
And would you say then that, going back to the question and the aspects of difference in the coaching industry, or the industry for health, or for life coaching, or for instance, that they don't focus as much on that individual character as opposed to just changing an outcome? So
Absolutely.
that would be the difference.
I don't think I've seen it hardly at all, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I think there's some guys in the States doing it.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't think anyone's aim. See, the thing is, Steve, as you know, everybody's playing safe. Better not say this too much. Better not say this. Everyone's treading carefully. And I think, as you know, what we're going to do is we're going to break the mold there and not tread carefully. We're going to just come out with everything and say this is what you need to do.
Sure.
Especially with the modern political environment at the moment, it's encouraging men to be harmless, encouraging men to be fragile. We've spoken about this in depth, and we know why that is. But actually, for a man in his life, it's going to create misery. It's going to be the Henry David Thoreau saying of men are going to lead lives of quiet desperation, and that's what we're seeing now.
Of course.
So we are going to say, be different to what society's telling you, be different to what culture's telling you. We're basically saying we're going to demand a lot more of you. Set your own standard. You'll be with like-minded guys, but you're going to have to set your own standard because the standard is so damn low at the moment. Who wants to go there? It's not working. It's like the therapy thing we've spoken about numerous times, I think on this podcast as well, is that the panacea for men is to share their feelings. What total nonsense. It's not the panacea because suicide rates are going up every single year.
Absolutely.
It's not working. If it's that much of a panacea, why is it not working? Because it never was the problem. Fragility is the problem. It always was.
And so that level of fear with individuals as well.
And that we speak about fear, don't we? It's got two forces, one pulling you forward and one pushing you back. And what men are doing, they're saying, well, I feel the push back, so I'll go with that because it's safer. But it's not safe. It's incredibly dangerous territory where dreams are just withered and left to die in the echoes of your dreams. It's not a safe place to be.
We've noticed so much more younger people now looking towards this level and type of coaching.
The age group's dropping, Steve, isn't it?
Is that right? Yeah.
So
what do you think it is?
I think young men are particularly confused. I think they've been fed the toxic message of a false message of toxic masculinity at school. I think they've been fed that agenda. I know that because I still coach some school children and they're telling me about what they're being taught. They're highly confused, but they know that they're worth so much more. And the difference is, if you get a guy, not always, I've still got guys of 55 getting in touch, but an older guy is so conditioned. He's so heavily invested in his life now. It's harder for them to change. But you get a young guy, he's still ambitious. He still wants to make his mark on the world. He still wants to do something different. He still wants to explore his own masculinity. So those guys have looked at the Kingmaker course and they've lent in quite heavily. They've looked at it and thought, this is what I need. A lot of these guys have been in therapy for years, but it's just not working because they understood what I said on the GB News stint, that it doesn't work. And what men are looking for is empowerment. But that empowerment may not necessarily be fitting neatly into society. It may be challenging it. It may be not going along with what's going on. It may be looking deeper at how a man is forming society due to his own behaviour. And it may not be like that. So the bulk of therapy is, what are we basing recovery on? What are we basing a success of that on? Are we basing it on the man feeling slightly better? Are we basing it on he doesn't feel quite so much angst as he used to? I'm not interested in that. I want the man to be utterly transformed. I want him to go into society and create it and make an impact within it. I'm not interested in men feeling slightly better. And I don't think they are.
No. Do you think that for some young men who may perhaps in their own lives have a lack of that male leadership or male guidance because they, for whatever reason, they may not have a father at home, or they may have a father who isn't actually the type of courageous man that we're looking to develop? Do you think that might be an aspect of why they're feeling that way?
Definitely. I think the male void in society has been an absolute catastrophe. I mean, being fathers, being proper husbands and partners, being moral pillars of society. I think it's a real big concern. The upside is, I actually think it's the way out of the cultural degeneration we're seeing. I think men are the way out, because women, they haven't really changed dramatically. They're still raising their children. They're still being mums. They're still nurturing their children. It's the men that have dramatically changed, I believe, more than women. They've kind of like retreated. They're playing small. They're hiding.
Yeah, sure.
They're not willing to step into that masculine role because it's scary.
And society, I think, has been leading them down a different path anyway.
Absolutely.
So that as much as they're not doing that, they probably unknowingly, subconsciously, have been taken down a path that removes that masculinity, that leadership in society, in the family, because they know that when that's taken away, it's easier to control whatever outcome they want. So we need to instill that back into man, and the Kingmakers course is going to do that. It's going to create a different mindset for men to develop their own individual character.
I think it's been deliberate. I've seen interviews by people even in the House of Lords that have said he believes that the actual political attacks on the destruction of the family have been deliberate.
Okay.
So I think it is deliberate.
Yeah. That's quite shocking.
It is quite shocking. And once again, people may listen to this and struggle with that, going, well, that's a big thing to say. But I've heard other podcasters say it as well, that they feel it's deliberate. Even ones that don't like to say too much on camera. They've also said that they feel it's deliberate, the destruction of the family unit. And you're right, it's all about control. But now's the time to take that control back.
Absolutely.
It's an opportunity. Everything's an opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I think that leads us on to actually about this question 3 we have, which is about what have you found is the biggest issue with men that holds them back?
There's definitely fear. There's definitely fear, and I think it's. I don't think it's just the emotion of fear. I think it's what perspective they give fear. So as I said before, that it's got two forces of pulling someone back and pushing someone forward. I think we've got such a safe life now, and such we're so addicted to comfort that anything out of the ordinary, too much fear makes someone retreat back. And no one's speaking about this to the kids at school. No one's speaking about it in conversations, that fear is there. It's an invitation. It's beckoning you forward. It's scary because you need to face it, not to retreat and run away. But we've got this message that if it's too scary, I'll just retreat because I need to be safe. But as I said just earlier, this idea of safety, in this space of safety, I'd have a good look. Is it really safe? Is it safe for your mental health? Is it safe for your physical health? If you really look at it, it's not safe. And we spoke about it, didn't we, with Chris, who's shadowing us here, the other Unlimited Courage team member. We said that, and this is a big thing to say, and I've lived it, there is a way to live that's worse than dying. I came very, very close to that. And the reason men kill themselves is because they don't want to face their fears. And people may listen to that and think that's absolutely crazy. But if you look at history, the great leaders, the great prophets, and the great heroes of society, they connected to something so incredible within themselves that they were willing to die for what they believed in. And then we could go to the Martin Luther King saying, if a man hasn't found something he's willing to die for, he's not fit to live. I mean, that's like something out of ancient Sparta again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But what he's saying is, you've got to find something so divine within you, such a powerful message and powerful expression of being and living, that you'll never want to let it go. And that's really profound. Can we put that forward in a course? I believe we can. I believe we can open the door to that and say, look, this is a way to live that you can't go back, not even if you wanted to, because it will feel like you're not even living. And I think that's what a man needs. He needs to connect to something that's so incredible.
It's greater than him.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like an incorruptible force inside of you.
And as you say, once that door is open to it, it's so hard not to go back.
You can't go back. In my experience, you can't go back. Because as soon as you go back, your whole being says, what are you doing? This is not where we are anymore. This is not even who we are anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the heroes that we talk about, those heroes are changing all the time. Do you think that's something that as men we need to really focus on, who we have as heroes?
Well, that's really changed, isn't it? I think the last 4 years have been an incredible revealing, which is why I wrote the book, The Courage Project, because it was all about what's been revealed to us. How many celebrities, prolific authors, and many people in the public eye did we see knee-jerk to that and fall apart? And not only did they fall apart, but they were called out to attack the public.
Of course.
They were called out to attack certain groups of people. Everything's out in the open now. You see these A-list celebrities sent different places in the world to have meetings with different individuals for whatever reason. I think people don't realise these people are more controlled than anyone. They're not free. Not all of them, but a lot of them are more controlled than anybody else. The politicians we see, they're not free. They're more controlled than anyone. So the heroes we did have, are gone. That authority and respect people in the public office commanded, it's gone. Which is why no one recently voted. Hardly anybody voted. So the heroes, I think sports stars are still there, and quite rightly. They train really hard. They have to aim everything at where they're going, so they're still there. I don't think it's as powerful as what it was. So I think the heroes now will be changing, and I welcome it as well. I think the heroes are the people that stand up for what they believe in. They'll be aiming at truth. They won't knee-jerk at what the government tells them to do. These will be the new heroes in society. They've always been there, but I believe they'll be more in the public eye now. But what I want the people that attend the Kingmakers to do is become that hero. Become that hero for your family. Become that hero for your society. And watch it change just through you. Watch it change.
Be that change that you want to see in the world.
Absolutely. Make an impact. Lead from example. Be the difference.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be. I know everyone's really concerned about the future, rightly so, but I think it's a time for opportunity as well, where we can reignite the minds of men towards courage, and everything will change around them. The problem is, coming back to young people again, I don't think they know how much power they have. Real power in making their mark in society. The reason people didn't vote in the British elections recently is that people thought there's no point. I can't do anything. That is sad, because they have so much power. If they don't want to vote, then don't vote. But at least be that example for your family, for your society. Stand up against injustice. Speak the truth. They have so much power, and I think that's missing in men, back to one of the original questions. They don't understand their own capacity to change the world. And this is world-changing stuff. It's no corny personal development line. We can change the world. It is world-changing stuff. If men can change and aim their lives at courage, the whole world will react to it.
And that's certainly the focus of the Kingmakers course.
Absolutely.
And
let each man be a king unto himself.
Absolutely.
Let each man be a light unto the world. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Simon. It's been
a pleasure, Steve.
It's been great talking to you, and I look forward to the forthcoming course.
Yeah, we'll do a few more yet, but yeah, fantastic. Great. Good talking to you.
Wonderful.